Look, short dude. I list myself a little bit taller sometimes
Of course
too.
you do. Of course
you know
you
what I'm saying? Like,
of course you do. I would expect nothing less from you.
I know who I am. I'm a welterweight. I'm comfortable with that. You know, it is what it is. Group A is the group of death. So this is where it can get scary because Team USA could see one of these teams, regardless of whether or not they win their group. That group, Greece, Spain, Canada, and Australia. Australia just got a bronze medal in the last Olympics. Canada just got a bronze medal in the World Cup, beating Team USA to do it. I think if Jalen Brunson's able to do this for an extended period, we're going to be talking about him and Walt Clyde Frazier as the best New York Knicks point guards ever, which is not something we thought we'd be saying. He might be the Knicks' best point guard in like 50 years.
Pascal Siakam, who is sort of waiting in the wings to be traded. He has an expiring contract of about $38 million for the Toronto Raptors, and he could sort of tilt the scales of power in the Eastern Conference or in the Western Conference if he does go out west via trade.
It's going to be a deep field that's going to challenge Team USA. I think this Olympic field is better than what we saw in 2021, even though Team USA is better. So I think there are a lot of factors, and people have to remember, this is closer to March Madness than it is the NBA playoffs, because once group play is done, it's just single elimination, and anything could happen in a one-game sample.
Buyer beware has never been more of a thing in the NBA. You get a ticket, and some people well in advance, and these are working class families who save up money to get these tickets. This is my activity for the month because I don't have time for all this other shit. I have multiple kids, whatever. We're going to go. We come back from a break. Luka's out. And then Kyrie is scratched during the afternoon, like hours leading up to the game. And if you're the consumer, like, yeah, you're going to be resentful toward that. And on their behalf, like, I'd be pissed.
We've been trying with Mo Bamba for a very long time to see if he has anything, and he just doesn't, all due respect. He has all the physical tools. He's big. He can shoot threes. He has length. But you're just going to be disappointed if you bring him in and expect anything. All due respect. Like, seriously, all due respect. He's kind of a bust. Still in the league, though, so good for him.
But Montenegro just doesn't tend to really have enough. It's been tough for them since they split from Serbia, honestly.
If Yugoslavia just kept it together, then Team USA would have a lot of problems.
It'd be a lot more difficult.
Usually guys at this stage of their career, it's like, what do you do in the Olympics for? Now, we know why LeBron's doing the Olympics, because wants another gold medal. I'm sure there's going to be a documentary here somewhere. Like, he's absolutely going to have a documentary where he's going to be the executive producer along with Maverick Carter. They're going to tell the story about one last run with Team USA, whatever. Like, you know that's going to happen. They're setting this up.
Can they actually win the West this year?
I mean, sure. But I still think James Harden's doing this honeymoon bullshit again that we saw him do with the Nets, that we saw him do in Philly.
This Mitchell Robinson situation has to get figured out. And I think with the Knicks, and anyone who's watched the Knicks this season will say this, you need to strengthen that bench.
I don't trust them. I don't trust their long-term health. And I don't trust this dude because I've seen your movies before, James Harden. And we've seen them particularly in the spring and in the playoffs. The only caveat that I would give you is that the Western Conference is full of potential frauds. Phoenix Suns, I mean, Grayson Allen might be their fourth best player. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I think are too young and need to get their ass whooped first. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, I mean, we'll see.
Maybe it's a Dejounte Carrington from the Connecticut Sun. She's a restricted free agent. That's going to be tricky. But Connecticut, we have to see what's going on with their rebuild, because it looks like they're going to rebuild.
I don't think Joel Embiid should be starting on his team. You could do Curry, LeBron, Durant, Bam, and Anthony Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, you can run
just
LeBron
go
at the
big.
two.
You're best of the world and all this shit. People say, all right, that is your death lineup.
They didn't need it the first two games because he shot the ball very inefficiently, and he's been seeing that drop coverage. Like, Joel Embiid, since returning from the meniscus injury, is playing deeper and deeper in the drop and is basically giving up that mid-range area so Jalen Brunson could get to his jump shot, get to his three-point shot. Kyle Lowry was big in game one and hasn't really given you that same offense consistently throughout the series. Kelly Oubre hasn't been consistent. Buddy Hield hasn't given you much. And the elephant in the room is Tyrese Maxey and his speed and his creativity and his ball handling, getting downhill, pulling from 28, 30 feet. Are you going to let him to continue to do that?
Like I said in the tweet yesterday, if you get playoff Jimmy, the Heat are going to win. If you get jump past Jimmy, the Sixers are going to win. We have 8 teams qualified already for the men's basketball portion of the Olympics. We have France, who is the host. You also have Germany, who won the World Cup. Serbia. You have Australia. For Asia, it's Japan. From the African nations, you have South Sudan. And then from the Americas, you have the United States. They're going to be there with Canada. Now, joining them are going to be 4 more teams from the 24 teams competing for these 4 spots. And there are going to be tournaments of 6 each.
Luke Kennard is probably another one I think can get interest because because he's making $14.7 million this year and also has a team option next year. So he's somebody who's going to be under team control. And I think that contenders should look at the Memphis Grizzlies because the Memphis Grizzlies should be sellers around, of course, John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Mo Wagner is the type of dude where if you play like a video game, if you watch a documentary, you're watching this up and coming center tell their story about like, yo, when I was in the league in my rookie year, I had to play this guy. And they don't talk about the stars. The first guy they talk about is like Mo Wagner, where he roughs you up in that game. He elbows you in the back. If you're the Knicks, this raises your ceiling, but there is a disaster scenario at play. You're not as deep as before. And the disaster scenario is that they get worn down again, that Jalen Brunson can't replicate what he did last year. From a health perspective, you have to worry about that because he's a small guard creating a ton of offense. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns is supposed to be a release valve. He's supposed to help with that. He's supposed to be there so that Jalen Brunson doesn't have to do everything he did last year. You know, they don't have the daunting salary questions that other organizations do yet, so they could afford to do this. They could afford to take the risk.